The girl in the rain. The rain was falling hard on the cold metal streets of Sector 9. Neon lights flickered above like dying stars, and no one paid attention to the world around them. People walked fast. Robots rolled past on wheels, scanning IDs. Security drones hovered above, silent but watching, and in the middle of it all, she was just standing there, crying, a young girl, soaking wet, her clothes torn, skin pale blue and shaking. She wasn't human, but she wasn't dangerous, either. She looked scared. Most people didn't even look at her. One alien vendor turned his head, saw her, then looked away quickly like she wasn't his problem. A robot rolled by, gave a beep and continued on its path. Another woman stepped around her like she was a puddle. Nobody cared, except him. Eli was human, one of the few left in that part of the colony. He was tall, wearing a long coat with a heavy toolbox over one shoulder. He had just finished a repair job on a power relay. He was tired, hungry, and honestly, just wanted to go home. But then he saw her. At first, he thought she was injured, maybe drunk, maybe lost. But then he saw her eyes, wide, glowing faintly, filled with pure fear. And tears. Real ones. She was trying to speak but couldn't form the words. He looked around. No one else even stopped. Eli stepped closer. "Hey, are you okay?" She flinched, took a step back. Her foot slipped, and she almost fell. He caught her by the arm. She pulled back fast and tried to hide her hand. That's when he saw it. A strange glowing symbol on her skin. Faint like a birthmark, but it pulsed lightly in red. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said calmly. "You're safe." The girl shook her head. Her voice was barely a whisper. "No one's safe. They're coming." "Who's coming?" She looked up at him. Her lips trembled. "They erased my family." Eli's heart skipped. Not many people use the word erased anymore. It wasn't just death, it meant data deletion, identity removal, gone from every system, every record, like someone never existed. He looked around again. The street felt too quiet. "Okay," he said softly. "Come with me. Somewhere dry, just for a moment." She hesitated, then nodded slowly. He took off his coat and wrapped it around her small frame. She followed him, barefoot, through a side alley and down into an old storage tunnel. Lights buzzed overhead as they walked. She was still shaking. He opened the old door to a maintenance bay, long forgotten by most of the city. Dusty, but safe. Inside, Eli grabbed a blanket from his gear pack and gave her water. She sat on the floor, hugging her knees. "What's your name?" he asked. She didn't answer. "Okay, that's fine. I'm Eli. I fix things." Silence, then softly. "My name was Ayla, but they erased that too." He didn't know what to say. She looked so young, maybe 13, maybe less. She wasn't fully alien. Something in her eyes felt familiar, human, almost. But her skin had faint patterns glowing like ink under her skin. "They want to finish it," she said. "The wipe. I escaped. They don't want anyone to know I still exist." Eli sat beside her. "Why you?" Ayla hesitated, then pulled back the sleeve of his coat. She showed him the symbol again. "This is not just a mark. It's a code." "A code for what?" She looked up, eyes fierce now. "A program. A secret. Something they tried to kill." Eli leaned back slowly. "And who's they?" The lights in the room flickered. Suddenly a soft beep echoed from his scanner. Unknown signal, close range. Eli jumped up, grabbed his scanner, checked the reading. "Someone's tracking you," he said. Ayla stood quickly. "I told you, they're coming." "How many?" "Too many." A long pause. Eli looked at her, then at the door, then back at her. "You trusted the wrong guy," he said. Her face dropped. She took a step back, but then he smiled, just a little. "Because I don't run from a fight." The hidden signal. The maintenance bay was dark and quiet, hidden deep under the city. Old wires hung from the ceiling like cobwebs. Broken tools and rusted machines lay everywhere. The only light came from a single flickering bulb and the small, blue glow of Ayla's strange mark. Eli locked the door behind them, then checked his handheld scanner again. The screen blinked red. Unidentified signal detected. Tracking. He cursed under his breath. They're close. Way too close. Ayla was sitting on a crate, holding the coat tightly around her. Her eyes followed every movement. She wasn't crying now, but her face looked like someone who had already cried too much. Eli opened a storage panel and pulled out an old shield generator. Half dead, but maybe enough to scramble a signal. He slammed it on the floor and started fixing the wires with quick hands. "Who are you really?" he asked without looking up. She didn't answer. "I mean, you're not just some lost kid. That mark on your arm, the signal chasing you, that doesn't happen by accident." Still silence. He looked at her. "You said they erased your family. Who were they?" She hesitated, then whispered, "Scientists." "Okay, so you were part of some experiment?" She shook her head. "I was the experiment." Eli stopped working. "What?" She slowly pulled the coat open. Underneath, near her ribs, a pattern of glowing lines moved under her skin, like veins but digital. Her whole body was wired, bio-coded. "I was grown in a lab," she said. "Half from my mother's DNA, half from something else. Something they found outside the system." Eli stared, completely frozen. "Outside the system? You mean, not from any known planet?" She nodded. "They called it the source. They said it was just data, but when they used it, I was the result." Eli rubbed his face. "This is way beyond my pay grade." Then, the scanner beeped again. Louder, signal strength increasing. Target. Locked. The shield generator sparked. "They've locked on to us," Eli said. Ayla jumped to her feet. "We have to go now." Eli grabbed his toolkit, the scanner, and motioned her toward the back exit. The front was a death trap now. If someone had locked onto her signal, they'd be there in seconds. They moved fast through a service tunnel. The walls were damp. Pipes hissed steam. It felt like the entire city above them was holding its breath. "I can shut the signal off," she said suddenly. "What do you mean?" "It's coming from inside me, from the mark." "Well, how do we turn it off?" "We don't," she said. "We burn it." Eli blinked. "Wait, you want to burn a piece of your body?" "It's not me," she said. "It's a tracker they fused to my nervous system, painful but not vital." He stared at her. "How old are you?" 16. Maybe. Maybe. They didn't celebrate birthdays in the lab. He shook his head. "Okay, remind me to file a formal complaint after we don't die." They entered an old power substation. It was quiet, too quiet. Eli used a plasma cutter to open a back panel. Then, a noise, a soft metallic click. Both froze. Eli held up a hand. "Don't move." From the shadows, a small sphere floated in. A drone. Not just any drone, a hunter class. Its red light scanned the room. Ayla backed up. "Don't let it see your face," Eli whispered. Too late. The drone's red light flickered, then turned blue. Target confirmed. It charged forward with a screech. A laser flicked out, cutting across the wall. Sparks flew. Eli grabbed a steel pipe and smacked it out of the air. The drone crashed into the wall, but another one floated in behind it. Then another. 3 drones now. "Run!" Eli shouted. They bolted through a side tunnel. The drones followed, fast and silent. One fired a dart. It missed, but embedded, itself in the wall, sizzling. Ayla screamed, tripped, and Eli pulled her up. Almost there. They burst out of the tunnel into an old scrapyard, of piles of dead tech everywhere. Eli scanned the area. "There," he pointed. "Signal dampeners. That tower might block the drones." They ran to the rusted tower. Eli climbed the side and twisted the old satellite dish. It hummed, barely working, but enough. The drone slowed, confused, lost the lock. Then, silence. Ayla dropped to her knees, breathing hard, her arm bleeding. Eli knelt beside her. We need to get that tracker out now, she nodded. You'll have to cut it. Eli paused. This is going to hurt. She looked up. I'm used to pain. He activated a small torch from his toolkit and began carefully burning the area near the glowing mark. Ayla bit her lip. No scream. Just quiet tears. The mark dimmed, then went dark. Eli pulled out a tiny black chip, still glowing. Got it. He dropped it to the ground and stepped on it. It crunched under his boot. She looked at him, eyes wide. You didn't ask what I am, she said. I don't care, he replied. Why? Because whatever they made you for, you're still someone who cried in the rain. That's enough for me. A pause. Then she smiled. A real one. Memory fracture. The safe house was hidden beneath a crashed transport ship. From the outside, it looked like scrap metal. Inside, it was a quiet pocket of peace. For now. Eli patched Ayla's arm while she lay on a padded bench. The glow in her veins had faded, but not completely. She was still different. Still something science couldn't explain. Or maybe science had explained her, and then tried to erase the evidence. Eli's scanner beeped softly. Still no signal. The tracker was out, but his gut told him the worst wasn't behind them. It was ahead. Across the room, an old holotable powered on, flickering weakly. Eli had connected it to his portable generator. He wanted answers. Tell me everything, he said. Ayla sat up slowly. I don't remember everything, only flashes, pieces. Then let's start small. What's Project Genesis? She paused, her eyes unfocused. There was a room, white walls, machines humming, people in lab coats. I was floating in a tank, wires inside me. I heard one of them say, "We finally did it. The source has bonded." The source? Eli asked. She nodded. Something they found in deep space. Not matter, not code. Something in between. Like energy that could think. Eli frowned. Like an AI? No. Not artificial, it was ancient. They didn't build it. They found it. Floating near a dead planet. They called it the source of origin. She hugged herself. They didn't understand it, but they tried to use it anyway. Eli stood up, started pacing. So you're telling me they injected space brain goo into a kid and called it science? She looked at him, dead serious. I wasn't the first. Eli stopped. There were others? He asked. Ayla nodded. Hundreds, maybe more. Some were grown, some were taken. None of them made it past stage 3. What stage are you? I'm stage 5. Final test. The one they couldn't delete. Eli turned back to the holotable and accessed his underground feed. A few connections still worked, thanks to some old pirate code friends. He typed, "Search, Project Genesis reboot access." Denied, he tried again, this time using a backdoor, an old encryption key from his technician days. The screen flickered, then a file opened. Inside, logs, encrypted videos, partial reports. Subject, 5.1 status terminated. He turned to Ayla. They think you're dead. She nodded. I made sure they thought that. Eli scanned further. A video loaded, a younger Ayla, inside a containment pod, her eyes glowing. A doctor's voice echoed in the background. She's stabilizing, no rejection symptoms. But the source is adapting too fast. She's becoming something else, not just hybrid, something new. Another voice. We can't control it. Then a command. Terminate the program. The video cut out. Ayla stood slowly, walked over to the table. Her hand hovered above the display. There's something inside me, not just memories. Something left by the source. I don't know what it is, but it wants to wake up. Wait, it's still inside you? She nodded. I hear it sometimes, in dreams, or when I'm scared, like a whisper. Eli stared at her, trying to stay calm. And what happens if it wakes up? I don't know, she said. Maybe I stopped being me. Suddenly, the power flickered. The hollow table glitched. Eli's scanner buzzed. Not a drone signal. This time, it was a person. A voice came from a speaker on the wall, static-filled but clear enough. Eli Crane. You've been warned before. Step away from the girl. Eli grabbed his blaster. Who is this? We are, the ones who cleaned up Project Genesis. You're interfering with a containment protocol. She's not a virus, Eli shouted. She's a person. She's both. And she's unstable. If the source activates inside her, entire cities could vanish. We've seen it happen before. The line cut. Ayla's eyes were wide. They're coming. Eli looked out the small window. Lights in the sky, dropships, military grade. You said you hear the source in your dreams, he said. Can you reach it? On purpose? She hesitated. Maybe. Then do it. Try now before they get here. Ayla sat on the floor, closed her eyes, breathed deep. The glow in her skin returned, brighter this time. The floor vibrated slightly. Static filled the air. Eli's scanner went haywire. Then, flash. A wave of light burst from her body, invisible to the eye but visible to every electronic system around them. All 5 incoming dropships powered down mid-air. They fell like stones, crashed into the outer rim of the scrapyard. Eli stared. What the hell was that? Ayla opened her eyes. I didn't do that. What do you mean? It did. For a long moment, silence. Just the distant sound of burning ships. Then Ayla said softly, It's waking up, Eli, and I don't know how long I can keep it asleep. Eli didn't answer right away. He walked over, sat beside her, looked at her glowing hands. You said, the source is alive. She nodded. Then we better hope it likes humans. The truth files. The crash zone was still smoking when Eli and Ayla left the safe house. 5 dropships, disabled mid-air, now lay twisted and burning in the scrapyard like broken beetles. No survivors climbed out. Whatever Ayla had triggered, it didn't just shut down tech, it killed it, and that scared Eli more than anything else. They didn't have time to waste. We need help, he said, leading her through the back alleys of the underground city. Someone who knows the kind of secrets you're tangled in. Ayla looked tired. Her glow had faded and she walked slower than usual, but her eyes, sharp, alert, and growing colder by the hour. Help? She asked. You think anyone will risk their life for this? Eli glanced back at her. Not for this, but maybe for the truth. They reached an abandoned news station, a tower sliced in half during the energy wars. What was left had been sealed shut and buried under propaganda. Eli entered a code into a keypad made from salvaged vending machines. The wall hissed and slid. Open inside was pure chaos. Papers, broken monitors, half-eaten snacks, and him-torn veil. Once the best underground journalist in the sector. Now, an exhausted-looking man with 4 screens in front of him and a cup of recycled coffee that could probably dissolve a spoon. He looked up. Eli Crane. Thought you were dead. Eli smirked. A lot of people are thinking that lately. Torrens' eyes moved to Ayla. And who's your glowing friend? She's why I'm not dead, and why you're about to get the story of your life. 10 minutes later, the room was dead silent. Torren had seen the files, watched the lab footage, looked through the data Eli pulled from the Project Genesis vault. Then he saw the rest. Ayla's vitals, her DNA structure, the symbol on her arm, and the code. Oh my gods, he whispered. It's real. What is? Eli asked. Torren pointed at the symbol. That's not just a project ID. That's Omicron 0, the original, forbidden algorithm. Ayla blinked. What does that mean? Torren stood. Omicron 0 was banned by every AI treaty signed after the Source incident. It was an evolving code, one that could rewrite not just systems, but reality, physics, memory, time, even thoughts. Eli looked at Ayla. So, she's carrying an AI that can edit the universe? Torren nodded slowly. And she doesn't even know how. Suddenly, an alert blared on Torrens' screen. Whoa, someone's scanning our feed, he started, typing furiously. They're pinging from Black Sector. That's government-level clearance. Someone's trying to see what we're accessing. He opened a file to trace the source. What he found made the blood drain from his face. Eli, this is bad. What is it? Torren turned the screen. It showed a list of terminated experiments. Each had a name, a number, and a date of deletion. Then came the final entry. Subject G5.1, Ayla. Status, terminated, manually overwritten. Override access code, CDR. Valili's eyes widened. Vale, that's your name. Torren backed away from the screen. No, that's my brother, Commander Darius Vale. He was part of the original Genesis project. Ayla stood, fists clenched. He knew me. He watched them destroy the others. Torren swallowed. He didn't just watch. He ran it. Ayla stepped forward, her veins starting to glow again. Then we find him. Eli grabbed her arm. Wait. What are you going to do? Ask him why he let me live, or why he tried to erase you. Meanwhile, in a secure tower across the city, Commander Darius Vale stared at a screen. His face was older, colder, steel-gray eyes. The room around him was sterile, white and humming with silent power. A hologram of Ayla flickered in front of him. She was alive. And worse, she was remembering. He tapped a control panel. Initiate contingency protocol Omega. An AI voice replied. Confirmed. Contingency in progress. Subject G5.1 will be eliminated within 72 hours. Back at the news station, Torren was silent. He'd pulled up more files, ones only someone in the family could access. There's a location, he said. A black site, not listed on any map, buried under the mountains. That's where the original source fragment was stored. That's where they built you, Ayla. Her hands trembled. Then that's where it ends. Eli frowned. Or starts again. Outside, in the city, things were changing. People were talking. After the crash of the 5 dropships, word spread. Something had shut down military tech. Something untraceable. Some said it was a rogue hacker. Others whispered the source had returned. And somewhere, deep in the slums, a group of rebels watched Ayla's image, captured on a surveillance camera near the scrapyard. One of them smiled. Looks like the experiment lived. Another nodded. And she's not alone. Back in the safe house, Eli was packing gear. Ayla stood at the door, her voice calm but firm. If this thing inside me wakes up again, I don't want to hurt anyone. Eli looked at her. Then let's make sure the people who built it never get the chance to use it again. She turned, her eyes glowing softly. In the dark. I don't know what I am, she said, but I know who I'm not. Who's that? Their weapon. Hunters and ghosts. The sun didn't rise in the Undercity, but light came anyway. Harsh, mechanical, uninvited. Spotlights, drones, search patterns. They weren't looking for a criminal. They were hunting a ghost. Eli and Ayla didn't sleep much. They were hiding in the broken hull of a transport ship deep in the junk fields. Every sound made them freeze. Even the wind through twisted metal felt like breathing. Ayla sat on a rusted panel, knees pulled to her chest. Her glow had dimmed again. Not gone, but quiet. Like it was holding its breath with her. Eli watched her from across the room. Are you okay? No, she said softly. He walked over, sat beside her. You're scared. She looked at him. You should be too. I am. Then why are you still here? Eli shrugged. Maybe I'm not smart enough to leave. Ayla cracked a tiny smile. Just for a second, then boom. The wall behind them shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Eli stood up fast. They found us. No, Ayla whispered. They did. Outside, 3 figures stepped into the junk field. They weren't soldiers. They weren't drones. They were something worse. Bounty hunters. Elite. Quiet, deadly. The one in front wore a black cloak over armor that shimmered like oil, a scanner over one eye. The others, one with blade arms, the other with a floating AI core on her back. They weren't looking to capture. They were looking to end. Inside, Eli opened a weapons case. Old blasters, EMP grenades, a hacked turret drone with one leg missing. Ayla didn't move. "I can feel them," she said. "One of them has killed people like me before." Eli handed her a shock pistol. "Then let's make sure he never does. Again." She didn't take it. "Why are you giving me a gun?" she asked. "You've seen what I can do." "That's what I'm afraid of." They locked eyes. For a second, neither said anything. Then the roof collapsed. Metal and sparks rained down. Eli rolled and fired. 2 shots at the floating AI bounty hunter. The hunter's drone flared a shield and returned fire. Lasers scorched. The floor where Ayla had just been standing, the blade-armed one dropped from above, silent as death. Swung wide, Eli barely dodged. Ayla screamed, light bursting from her body. The room flashed white-blue. The blade hunter stumbled back, blinking. His visor fried. Eli took the shot, blaster straight to the chest. Boom, hunter down, 2 left. The leader stepped through the smoke. Calm, cold. "Ayla," he said. "I know what you are." She backed away. "Then you know you should leave." He smiled. "That's the thing, they're not afraid of what you are, they're afraid you'll realize it before they kill you." Eli grabbed Ayla's hand. "Move." They ran, through twisted corridors of metal and debris, over broken floors, under sparking walls. Behind them, the floating AI shrieked and gave chase, firing precise laser shots. Eli ducked behind a crate. "You okay?" Ayla's eyes were glowing, again, but this time different. "I saw something," she whispered, "when I used my powers earlier." "Saw what?" "People. Crying, falling, a whole city, vanished." Eli stared. "A vision?" "No," she said. "A memory." Behind them, the AI hunter hovered into view. Its voice buzzed like 1,000 digital bees. "You are the anomaly. You must be neutralized." Ayla turned slowly. "No." She raised her hand. Silence. The AI's lights flickered. Then, boom! It exploded, in midair. A shockwave blasted out. Windows shattered, metal curled. Eli was thrown across the room. When he sat up, Ayla was standing in the center of a quiet circle. The floor under her feet had melted. She didn't blink. She didn't move. Just glowing eyes pulsing slowly. "You killed it," Eli said. "I didn't mean to." "But you did." Ayla looked at her hands. "I think the source is merging with me." "What does that mean?" "It means I don't need weapons anymore." Later that night, they took shelter in a quiet sector, an old temple long forgotten. The bounty hunters were gone, for now. Eli patched his wounds. Ayla sat by a broken window, staring into the stars that barely peeked through the dome above. "You okay?" he asked. She shook her head. "I felt something back there. When I blew up the AI. What was it? Power, like too much of it." Eli nodded slowly. "You're not losing yourself, Ayla." "But what if I already have?" Then she told him what the memory showed her. The lab, the children, the way the source picked favorites, choosing the ones who would survive, and how. It spoke to her, not in words but in possibilities. "What did it show you?" Eli asked. She looked at him. "You." Eli froze. "Me?" "In the future. Dead. Because of me." He didn't speak for a long time. Then, "Well, we'll just have to make sure that doesn't happen." She smiled sadly. "That's not how visions work." Eli leaned in. "That's how choices work." Suddenly, Torin's voice crackled through Eli's comms. "Bad news, kids. Black Sector just issued a kill order on both of you. Whole planet's watching now. They're calling her the Ghost of Genesis." "Catchy," Eli muttered. "Also," Torin added, "they're sending in a full capture unit. Not bounty hunters. This time. Military. Big guns. Ayla stood. Then we don't run. Eli turned. What? We make a deal. The core memory. The storm began underground. Not lightning, not wind, but electricity. Waves of it. Invisible pulses moving through the power grid, frying circuits, tripping sensors, even making the artificial moonlight above the city flicker. The source was waking up, and Ayla was the alarm clock. They'd made it to the memory vault, the old Genesis facility buried beneath the mountain. No signs, no warnings. No guards, just a smooth, curved door carved into the rock, blinking softly with a green light. Waiting for her. I've never seen a lock like this, Eli said, scanning the panel. It's not connected to any system. It's not supposed to be, Ayla replied. It's part of me. She stepped forward. As her hand hovered near the panel, it began to glow in sync with the symbol on her skin. The door opened. No sound, no air, just dark. They walked in together. Inside was a long hallway. Clean, white, untouched by time. This place shouldn't exist, Eli muttered. Ayla stared straight ahead. It doesn't. Not in official records. At the end of the hallway, the walls opened into a circular chamber, and in the middle, a memory chair. It looked like a throne made of glass and steel, vines of wires curled around it like a sleeping monster. Ayla stopped. Her breath caught. I've been here before. She walked forward, sat down, and the lights all around them turned on. Suddenly, holograms flickered to life. Footage, memories, fragments. Ayla in a pod. Scientists watching her. Children running through a training room, some with glowing veins like hers. Eli stepped back, eyes wide. This is it, all of it, a video loaded. A man appeared, stern, sharp-eyed, and familiar. Commander Darius Vale, Torin's brother. Ayla's creator. The one who gave the kill order. His voice echoed through the chamber. Subject G5.1, initial synchronization with the source. Fragment complete. Cognitive fusion level, 87%. Subject displays emotional irregularities, attachment, empathy, curious. Recommend re-evaluation of neural conditioning. Project risk, rising. Ayla's voice shook. They wanted to turn me into a weapon. Eli's jaw tightened. No, worse. They wanted to remove everything that made you human first. Another video auto-played, a different lab, chaos, scientists yelling, one man bleeding. On a monitor, a black shape growing, alive but unformed, pulsing like a heart. An AI voice screamed, warning, reality stability breach. Then static. Another log played. Darius again, tired, paler, scared. The source is not data, not energy. It's potential, living potential. It doesn't want to be controlled. It learns. Every time we try to cage it and it finds a new way to escape. We shut it down. We burned the labs. We ended the trials. All but one. He looked directly into the recording lens. If you're hearing this, Ayla, I'm sorry. They voted to delete you. I couldn't, but I ran. I couldn't stop them all. I tried to bury this place, bury the truth. But the source remembers. If it chooses to wake inside, the world must be ready. Or it will burn. The chamber went dark. Eli was frozen. Ayla was crying. Not because she was sad, but because she remembered. She remembered everything. The lab, the pain, the training. The moment her best friend, another hybrid girl, started glowing too bright. The room shaking, screams, and how they made Ayla watch her die. Not because they were cruel, but because they wanted Ayla to learn what happens when you lose control. Eli knelt beside her. You okay? She didn't answer. She was staring at her hands. They didn't just train me, she whispered. They programmed me to care, to feel, to be human enough to pass. Eli looked confused. Why would they do that? She looked at him. Because the source won't accept anything less. Suddenly, a new memory flashed in her head, but it wasn't in the logs. It wasn't from the chair. It was coming from inside her. A planet. A civilization. Gone. Not destroyed. Just erased. Like a page wiped blank, and standing in the center. Something that looked like her. Eyes glowing. Calm. Surrounded by silence. She snapped back to the present. Her body was shaking. I've seen what I become, she said. Not here, in other places, other timelines. Eli was pale. Like multiverses? No, she said. Like, if I make the wrong choice. Then the memory chair flickered again. One last file opened, a message from the source itself. It wasn't a video. It wasn't a voice, it was a feeling, like something ancient whispering in a forgotten tongue. Except you understood it anyway. Ayla's eyes glowed white. Then she said the words out loud. Everything ends, but not everything has to die. Eli felt a chill crawl down his spine. What does that mean? She stood. I think it's giving me a choice. Suddenly, the entire mountain shook. Alarms blared. Sirens lit up. Ayla turned to Eli. They found us. He checked the scanner. Full strike team, coming fast. Heavy artillery. Can you stop them? He asked. She didn't blink. Yes, but if I do, I'm not sure who I'll be afterward. For a moment Eli looked at her. This girl, this strange, brilliant, terrifying miracle. Then he said, whatever choice you make, I'll stand with you. She looked at him. I don't want to burn the world to survive. Then don't, he said. Burn the lie, burn the cage, but not the world. She smiled. Small, sad, but real, then turned toward the exit. Only a human. The sky cracked open over Sector 9. Thunder didn't rumble, it screamed. A storm brewed, not of weather, but of power, and in the eye of it stood Ayla. Her eyes glowed bright like twin suns, her feet barely touching the ground. The source inside her was awake now, alive, thinking, whispering. Below her, soldiers formed. Lines, drones hovered, cannons locked on. And at the front of the squad, Commander Darius Vale, cold, focused, holding a weapon designed specifically to kill her. He wasn't here to negotiate. He was here to end her. Inside the Genesis memory vault, Eli watched the monitors. His hands shook. Ayla was floating. Unreachable. Silent. Talk to me, he whispered. But the signal was filled with static. Her biosigns flickered like a dying star. Come on, Ayla, he begged. Don't let it take you. Above the city, people were watching, not just on screens, but in person. Thousands gathered on rooftops and towers, not in fear, in silence. In wonder, a girl, glowing, floating, facing down an army. They didn't know who she was, but deep down, something in them whispered, she might be one of us. Ayla's voice echoed like thunder in the quiet battlefield. I am not your weapon, Commander. Vale stepped forward. You are a threat to the balance. No, she said. I am the result of your imbalance. He raised the weapon, a particle disruptor tuned to her biosignal. A single thought from you could destroy a city. I've had that thought, she said, but I chose not to act on it. Not this time. He fired. The world slowed. The beam surged toward her, cutting air, breaking light. She raised a hand. Calm. The blast stopped mid-air, froze, vibrated, then imploded. No sound, just a pulse of air, and silence. Vale stepped back, stunned. You stopped it? Ayla landed gently on the ground. Her glow dimmed slightly. I stopped myself. He hesitated. You don't understand what's inside you. The source doesn't care about mercy or restraint. I do, she said. And that's the difference. Suddenly, Movement behind the troops. Reinforcements' cannon units rolled. Inmechs powered up then. A new ship flew in low. Torrin Vale. Darius's brother, the journalist. Broadcasting live. To the entire planet. People of Arc 9. His voice rang out. This is not a battle. This is a cover-up. Images appeared on the feed. The Genesis experiments. The children. The deaths. The vote to terminate Ayla. The override. Darius's face. You tried to delete her, Torrin said. But she lived, and you're afraid the world might listen to her. Soldiers looked at each other. Some lowered their guns. Even drones hesitated. Darius shouted, "This is an illegal transmission." Torrin smiled. "So stop me." Back on the field, Ayla stepped forward. "You built me in a lab, taught me pain, showed me death, told me I was special, then tried to kill me for believing you." She raised her arms. Not in attack, but in surrender. "I'm tired of running." The source pulsed inside her, ready to react, to protect, to obliterate if necessary, but it listened and waited, because this time she was in control. Commander Darius looked at her, and for a moment, the gun lowered. "You could destroy me," he said. "I could. Why don't you?" She looked toward the crowd, toward Eli on the monitor, toward the sky. "Because I am not what you made." Darius dropped the weapon and walked away. No one followed him. No one dared. The army stood still. Then slowly, one by one, they knelt, not in worship, but in understanding that they had tried to kill something they couldn't control, and it chose not to kill them back. Eli reached her minutes later, ran through the field, straight to her. "You did it," he said, breathless. Ayla turned to him, her glow soft, her skin warm, her smile real. "We did." He looked at her, eyes filled with more fear now than before. "Are you still you?" She paused. "I think I'm more me than I've ever been." Then she collapsed into his arms, not from damage, but from peace. For the first time since the rain. Epilogue. 1 year later, Sector 9 changed. No more drones in the streets. No more secret labs. Ayla helped rebuild, not with power, but with voice. She became a symbol, not of fear, but of hope. The source remained inside her, quiet, curious, dormant. She had made a choice, and the world followed. Eli opened a small repair shop near the scrapyard. The sign above it read, "Crane fixes everything, especially impossible things." Sometimes Ayla helped, and sometimes when it rained, she stood in the street, head tilted up, smiling, because she remembered the moment a stranger stopped and asked, "Are you okay?" And in that moment, everything changed.